What is up, guys? This is The Rose here, and today is the debut episode of a new podcast on my channel called The Game Corner. Now, I did a episode 0 of this podcast last month for the Game Awards. I covered my predictions and who I thought was going to win and who I was voting for. I also covered a small bit of news so you guys would know what this podcast is all about. So feel free to watch that episode. And then come back to watch this one. This is a podcast that will talk about the news and rumors that swirl around the video game industry every week. Now, this will be an every weekend thing, or at least close to every weekend, as much as I can possibly do it. You know, there will be weekends where I won't be around, or say if I'm at my dad's house, or if I'm sick, or something comes up and I'm just not able to do it. There will also occasionally be some live episodes of the Game Corner podcast, which will cover big events such as the Video Game Awards, like I did with episode 0, E3, maybe PlayStation experience that they do in December, and some other shows here and there. Now, sometimes, like today, I'll be by myself. Sometimes I'll have a friend on with me or two friends with me, however that goes. But this is mostly a show to talk about video games. You know, I'll talk about the news, the rumors, you know, some of my favorite games of all time, some of my favorite games of the current year, some of my least favorite games of the previous year. Sometimes there will be 2-part episodes, sometimes there will be 3-part episodes. Depending on how much news I come across, you know, throughout the week, will depend on how many episode parts there will be in one weekend. Now, if I'm not around, I'll let you guys know ahead of time that, hey, there will be no podcast this coming weekend. Or if I'm going live, obviously you'll get the notification a little while before I go live, and so on. So, hope you're interested in this podcast. Thanks for giving it a chance. This is episode 1, part number 1 for January 5th, 2018. Thanks for stopping by the channel and enjoy the content. So today I'm going to talk about some stuff. I got some news topics. I got my top 5 worst games of 2017. The games I was most disappointed in, the games I thought were the worst of the bunch. I also have information on the free games with PlayStation Plus and games with Gold for January. So, to start off this podcast, I want to say thank you to everybody who will listen to this. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description down below. Also follow Black Sakura on Facebook. All the information you will need is down below, as well as checking out my partner, Erin Fitzgerald. She is a voice actress, a damn good one at that. She has an ebook out there, and she's giving you all advice on how to learn how to be a voice actor. So you want to check that out, feel free to do so. Purchase the ebook with audiobook combo, and do so. It's very good knowledge. Links are in the description. Everything is there you're going to need to know. So, with that said, yesterday we got 15 inches of bullshit on the ground. So, if you're hearing any wind in the background, that's what that's from. It is very windy today. I actually think it was windier now than it was yesterday. And if windier isn't a word, well, it is now. So, you know, I woke up this morning and I had to go to the bank, pay my rent. Put money in the bank, make sure I'm not going to overdraw. Went out to the store, got something for dinner. I'm going to eat delicious London broil tonight. Anyways, before I leave the house, I get my packages in the mail. I get 2 packages in the mail. One from Mercari. Mercari is like eBay, where you can buy stuff online. And another package from GameStop. So I get back from the bank and the food store, and I open my packages up. Everything's going well and good. I got my Funko Pop Sub-Zero Chase figure. Nicely packed, good condition, not damaged. And then the shit just goes downhill from here. I opened my GameStop package, and I order on Sunday the buy 2 get 1 free used games online because they didn't have what I wanted in the store, because they never do. Shocker, shocker there. So I get my package and I ordered Bulletstorm, the definitive edition, Ukulele, and a game called Exist Archive, which is a Japanese role-playing game. Played it on PlayStation Now with my free trial there, and I thought it was pretty decent. But the only game I received out of that set of games is Exist Archive. The other two games are missing in action. I have no idea why I didn't get them. And the one game that I did receive, well, guess what? That motherfucker is about as damaged is going to get. They shipped me this game in a clear blue PS4 case. No box art. No nothing. The case doesn't even say PS4 on it. And the disc was not even in the case. The disc was in the paper in the box. This disc is scratched to high hell. Fingerprints up the ass. And whatnot. So I call GameStop and I tell these fuckers, hey, what the hell? I received this shipping package this way. I ordered 3 games, only received 1, and the 1 game I received is damaged to high hell, and it was poorly shipped, and I am not happy. I want my games. I want what I paid for. So they decided to set me up with a new shipment, which is rightfully so, and they let me keep the 1 game that is damaged. Thanks, GameStop. What am I going to do with that? Wipe my fucking ass with it? So yeah, I was going to stream Ukulele tonight, but GameStop had other ideas. So what am I going to do on Twitch tonight now, GameStop? I don't know. You ruined my plans. Maybe I'll just sit around and masturbate for 2 hours. That sounds like a good idea. Anyways, folks, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. Let's start off with my top 5 worst and most disappointing games of 2017. So, first up, number 5 is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. And this game is on this list simply because while it is a pretty good game, it is exactly what you expect of an Uncharted game. It's just too fucking short. And that's kind of disappointing because any other Uncharted game released before this one had over 20 chapters in it. This one had only 9 chapters. Even the PS Vita game, the Uncharted Golden Abyss, that game had quite a lot of chapters in it. I never finished that game, but I did make it up to chapter 16. This game only has 9 chapters to it, man. You could beat this game in like 6 hours. Or less, depending on how good at this game you are. So that's why that game makes number 5 on this list. It's too damn short. They could have done more with the story, but everything else is pretty good. I would say if you have a few hours to kill, go rent it from Redbox. You will have a good time for $3. Number 4 goes to Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces is not a great game. Sonic Forces is a decent game. However, this game is plagued with some damn problems. This game has control issues. This game has only 30 stages, so it is pretty short. You can beat this game in about 3 hours. And then, while there is time-limited free DLC, I just don't see this game having too much quality put into it. It's only a $40 title from Sega, so what do you expect? And also, those sons of bitches, they put a ban on recording or streaming the game directly from the PS4. Now, I can't say for same that the Xbox version or other versions of the game have this, because while I know the Xbox can only record up to 5 minutes at a time, and the Switch, I think, is only 30 seconds at a time. The PS4 version, I streamed it the other night, and lo and behold, I was very surprised to find out that the audio was only being streamed during cutscenes because I've entered blocked content. So, now, don't get me wrong, I understand why Sega did this. They did this, to keep their game spoiler free. I understand that. But, Sega, what you don't understand is the majority of people that stream or record their Let's Plays, they don't do it straight from the console. They do it externally. They stream through their capture devices or capture cards They stream through remote play and a streaming device. They record with a capture device or a capture card like AverMedia or Elgato or something along those lines. You know, they did this with Hatsune Miku Future Tone or whatever the fuck that game was called. And that game, I understand why they did it because of the music copyright. You know, they wanted to protect their players from copyright infringement. That's all well and good. And Sega, I know they own Atlas, and I know that game had a temporary ban on some of the story cutscene stuff, but Sonic Forces, not only did it suffer from the streaming and recording problem, it also has control issues. This game has momentum problems. You're either not going fast enough or you're going too fast, so that when you make a jump, you either have too much momentum and you overshoot your target, or you don't have enough momentum and you're going to fall in a pit, hit an enemy, hit spikes, or something along those lines. Or if you're not jumping with momentum, the jumping mechanics feel very stiff. It took me a little while to get used to the game. Now, they made Sonic Forces with the Hedgehog engine, an upgraded version of it that they used for Sonic Generations. And that game isn't perfect either, but the control in that game was better than this one. So that's why Sonic Forces makes number 4. Number 3, Need for Speed Payback. Need for Speed Payback is not a very good game. Need for Speed Payback has loot box system. Need for Speed Payback has speed cards to upgrade your cars. That's great. Speed cards. Amazing. You know how you get speed cards? You win races. Oh, but if your car's not good enough, you're not going to win those races. And guess what? If you want better cars, you got to grind out events that you've already done just to get the cars you want. Oh, and certain cars could only go up to a certain driver level, or a car level, as they call it in the game. Cars could go up to a 399 car level, and the majority of them can't even do that. So that game, and despite the fact that it is a glitchy mess at some points, and the newest patch update, the December update that was released not too long ago, breaks the game entirely to the point where if you're playing the game and you're connected to the EA servers, I hear about 9 times out of 10 the game's going to crash. My brother got the game for Christmas, and he was playing the Xbox version, and this happened to him quite a bit. And that's pretty disappointing. Number 2 goes to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Now, this is the first game in the Marvel vs. Capcom series we've gotten in about, 7 years? 8 years, maybe? This game was not very good. The visuals were ugly. The dialogue seemed forced a lot of the time. The fighting mechanics were dumbed down a lot. It made the game very accessible to spamming, and the online was broken and cheap as hell because of it. This game pissed me off. And I don't get pissed off at fighting games very often, because if I'm not good at a fighting game, it's usually my fault. But in this game, fuck this game. I played it twice, never again. Number 1, Gran Turismo Sport. Gran Turismo Sport is the first game in the Gran Turismo series since 2013, when Gran Turismo 6 released in December on the PlayStation 3, not too long after the PS4 had released. Why they didn't just make that a PS4 game, we'll never know. Anyways, I played Gran Turismo Sport, I played the closed beta, and I absolutely loved it. Now, I played that one online quite a bit, and while it was a closed beta, it did have some problems. You know, it had a lot of rubber banding. The servers weren't great. Races disconnected a lot or couldn't even start. And I played the open beta they released, a few days before the game came out. They let us play an open beta for like 3 or 4 days, I think it was. And lo and behold, they stripped a lot out of the Gran Turismo series that made that game successful. That game has no performance tuning, no visual, well, not much visual upgrading and stuff. And they took out the single-player campaign. They took out this, they took out that. They stripped that game down so much. They even removed driving tests, the license test. Now they call it driving school. And that game had such an outcry of disappointment that now Polyphony Digital is working to release a single-player campaign and whatnot to the game. And, oh yeah, the game only has like 140 cars, down from over 1,000 that was in the last few releases. So, good job, Polyphony. I had that game pre-ordered, and I was looking forward to it for a year and a half. It got delayed about 3 times, and after I played that open beta, I canceled my reserve immediately. Good job on your part. So, who likes free games? What's that? You do? Well, I got good news for you. On the PlayStation Plus, Sony has released quite a few games that you can download for free this January, and you can keep them as long as your PlayStation Plus service is active. The first of which is Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. Next up is Batman: The Telltale Series. Then you have Sacred 3 on the PlayStation 3. You have the... what is it called? It's called the Book of Unwritten Tales 2. That's it. Slipped my mind for a second there, folks. Then you have Psycho Pass: Mandatory Happiness for the PS Vita, which is apparently also available on the PS4. And you have Uncanny Valley on the PS Vita. Now I ask, does anybody even play the PlayStation Vita anymore? Let me tell you something. I haven't played mine in like a year and a half. So the last game I played on it was the Mega Tag Mansion Blonde, which came out, I believe, in May of 2016. I believe so, yeah. That's about right. But anyways, with these free games, you can download them now. They've been available for free since January 2nd. And you will have until the first Tuesday of February to do so. So if you have a valid PlayStation Plus subscription or you plan on getting one within the month, feel free to do that. Maybe there's something there you'll enjoy. I, for one, did not think I would like the Telltale series, and I downloaded the Borderlands one when that was free quite a few months ago. I believe it was during the summer sometime or whatever. And I actually liked it a lot. I mean, I was already a fan of Borderlands, so that kind of helped. I'm not a Batman fan. I'm not a DC fan in general. But I think I'll give this a shot because it's free, and it's a Telltale game, and I know how they work. Next, we have the free games with gold for Xbox One. Let me just pull it up right here. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Ah, here it is. Okay, free games with gold. We have a few titles. There's 4 titles, as always, every month. 2 games available on the 1st of the month. 2 games available on the 16th of the month. So, we got Van Helsing 3, The Adventures of Van Helsing 3. We have Zombie. We have Tomb Raider Underworld, which is Xbox 360, backwards compatible with Xbox One. And Army of Two, Xbox 360, backwards compatible with Xbox One. Now, I don't understand why they're giving us 2 games that are like 10 years old or older for free. I understand they're backwards compatible games, but isn't there something more appealing that you guys could give us, Xbox? Don't get me wrong, free is great, but if the games aren't attracting, there's no point in downloading them. Now, I have played Army of Two before. I played the first 2 games in the series. Thought they were alright games, but I can tell you right now, I'm not going to download it again. And as for Tomb Raider, I'm not a Tomb Raider fan, so that game's out the window. And the other 2 games on the Xbox One, I don't give a damn for at all. So, Zombie will be available until January 31st. No, I'm sorry. Van Helsing 3 will be available until January 31st to download, as well as Army of Two. And Tomb Raider Underworld will be available until the 15th of this month to download, and Zombie will be available until February 15th to download. Of course, with valid Xbox Live Gold subscription, these games are absolutely free, and you can keep them just like PlayStation Plus until your service expires or you cancel. So, that's that. You like free games? You got some free games. How about that? Alright, guys, let's get into some news now. I got a few news articles I would like to talk about, so let's get them out of the way, shall we? Let's start with Street Fighter V. We got an arcade update on how the arcade mode is going to work in this game. In an article written by Andy Wong on Capcom's website, he discusses the arcade mode of the game, and he writes, as the mode Street Fighter V Arcade Edition is named after, arcade mode expands on the classic fighting game staple to provide an experience unlike any other. That's what we should have gotten 2 years ago there, buddy. Little late there. Nice try anyway. You'll choose between 6 different paths, each representing a main title in the series. Street Fighter, Street Fighter II, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter III, Street Fighter IV, and Street Fighter V. Each path contains characters faithful to the respective titles, or in some cases, representatives of other characters. For example, the character Zeku represents the character Geki in the first Street Fighter game. The barrel-breaking bonus stage also returns in their respective paths to give you a chance to get a higher score. So we at least know that the barrel-breaking bonus game is going to be in Street Fighter II, the Street Fighter II arcade path. As you progress, you will accumulate scores in arcade mode, which are then uploaded to the online leaderboards. Nobody cares. Where unique titles are on the line. Excuse me, I sneezed. In order to increase your score, finish your opponent quickly. Perform special moves, such as crush counter, get a perfect, etc. Once you reach the end, you will be treated to one of over 200 ending images, which come in the form of character story images and all new custom illustrations. In fact, here's a sneak peek, and there's a few of them here. They show 5 of them here. And they will be streaming the game. They will be streaming an entire path of arcade mode, along with showing off Sakura and more V-triggers on January 9th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Capcom Unity Twitch channel. So, if you're interested in some of what the new version of Street Fighter V is going to look like, well, there you go. Check out the stream next week. Of course, Street Fighter V Arcade Edition releases on January 16th, 2018. So that date is just around the corner. About a week and a half from now. And, yeah, it looks interesting. Now, I do have here a screenshot of the paths laid out. And it has all 6 paths outlined, and how many battles there will be in each path. And it also gives you some information on when these games have released. So the Street Fighter path, it says Street Fighter, number of battles 4. On the right side, it shows the Street Fighter game logo. And since I can only see the first one here, I could tell you what this says. Street Fighter launched on August 1987. This is the game that started the Street Fighter legacy. Story Chronicle Order 1. A young Ryu and Ken, and the fruits of their training against the strongest fighters in the world. A young Ryu and Ken test their fruits of their training against the strongest warriors in the world. So there you go. I'm sure, obviously, the other, paths will have something along those lines. Very small synopsis of what the games were. Street Fighter II will have 8 battles in that story arcade story. Street Fighter Alpha will have 10 battles. Street Fighter 3 will have 6. Street Fighter 4 will have 8. And Street Fighter 5 will have 11. If these are anything better, if these are anything like the story mode thing, which is pretty much the closest you're going to get to arcade mode until this comes out, it's probably going to look the same. Like you're going to go from battle to battle, maybe have some small cutscenes here and there. Hopefully they do this good. This is what we should have gotten when the game came out. Quite honestly, I would have rather waited another 2 years if it meant getting a full version of the game when it came out. Now, I don't know if the Season 3 stuff comes with the new version of the game. Because I know if you get the game, or if you already have the game, you get the regular version, or if you already have it, you can get the Arcade Edition patch for free. But if you buy the Arcade Edition, I don't think it comes with the Season 3 stuff. Clicking on the page on the Street Fighter website, where you can pre-order the game, it says Street Fighter V Arcade Edition is a brand new disc that includes all the base content from the original Street Fighter V release, plus all Season 1 and 2 characters, which includes 12 characters and 12 premium costumes. So there you go. You don't get the Season 3 stuff with the Arcade Edition, which is bullshit. And this game is probably going to be $60 when it comes out, although I heard it's going to be $40. So that'd be pretty cool. I hope it's $40. So if you only get the free update, you don't get the characters, apparently. You have to get the disc for the first 2 seasons of stuff. That's how Street Fighter has you by the balls. Okay, I get you. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition includes and releases simultaneously with the content listed below, all of which will be available as a free update to existing Street Fighter V players beginning January 16th. If you already own Street Fighter V, you do not need to purchase the new disc to receive this additional content. The additional content we will receive without the new disc is the arcade mode, which, of course, the new gallery, where you can unlock and view art, new V-triggers. Each character will have 2 V-triggers, adding more depth to the combat system. New mode, Team Battle. Assemble local teams, set your own rules, and see who comes out on top. And new visuals. The user interface is being redesigned with new colors, new color scheme, revised menu, and exciting pre- and post-fight effects. And then if you pre-order Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, the disc, you get nostalgia costumes for Charlie. I believe that's Charlie. Or is that Alex? One of them. Ibuki, Jori, Akuma, and I want to say Karen. You also get the 30th anniversary costumes for Bison. You get Bison, Ibuki, Guile, and one other character. I think that's Armika, maybe? So there you have it. That is your Street Fighter V news and updates. I kind of don't like how they have you by the balls, where you have to buy the new disc if you want the characters without having to spend an additional $60 with the update just to have a complete roster. And then if you want the Season 3 characters, you got to spend another $30. So that's $90 for a free update, essentially, if you want everything. But then at the same time, if you go out and buy the disc, which hopefully is $40, then you still have to go and spend $30 if you want everything. So either way, this free update is going to cost you money if you really want it bad enough. Moving on. The next piece of news. Let me pull it up real quick. Computer is running just a tad sluggish today. Alright, so what do we have here? We have... Oh, here we go. Let's discuss Platinum Games. You know, they want to self-publish a new game. Let's look into it. In an article on Sakura published by Sato. I apologize if I'm butchering names. They wrote an article. Platinum Games looks to create its own IP and game interest in self-publishing own title. Platinum Games is known for its stylish, fast-paced action that we've seen throughout the years in titles such as Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Wanted to play it, haven't played it yet. Nier Automata, want to play it. Bayonetta, which I only played the first one, and more. While they are mostly known for work on licensed titles, Platinum Games head of development and producer Atsushi Inaba recently talked about the company's current focus, which involves creating its own IP and self-publishing in an interview with Game Informer. Here are some of the points of interest. So what has Platinum been focusing on lately? Inaba says, one of the things Platinum is focused on is we're looking into creating our own IP, creating our own game. Up until now, obviously, we've worked on original IPs for a wide variety of publishers. We've also worked on other Hollywood IPs for other publishers as well. But we're becoming more interested in the idea of self-publishing and doing our own title. So, there you have it. They are very interested in their own IP, making their own IP and self-publishing. So, it's interesting to see, what we're going to get next from Platinum Games. Besides Bayonetta 3, which will be on the Switch in 2018, this year sometime. I'm highly looking forward to that. As well as ports of the first two games also going to the Switch, which is good news for me because I didn't play Bayonetta 2 yet. So, with that said, those are some of the articles of interest for your Friday, January 5th, 2018. My name is The Rose. I appreciate you stopping by for the inaugural episode of the Game Corner podcast. Episode 1, part number 1. Part 2 will be uploaded on Saturday, so tune in for that. And again, if you want to check out episode 0, where I talked about the Game Awards, as well as a few announcements and news articles there. Again, follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Follow Black Sakura on Facebook. Follow Erin Fitzgerald. Check her out. She is an awesome voice actress. Check out her website. You can learn all about her and her credits, what roles she has done in anime, cartoons, and video games. She also has her ebook or ebook and audiobook combo. Your choice if you're interested in becoming a voice actor. That is a good place to start. So, with that said, thank you very much for the beginning of 2018. This will be a nearly every weekend thing. It'll either be 1 or 2 parts, just going over what I had stated in the beginning. Thanks again, folks. My name is The Rose, and I'll catch your ass down the road. They are mostly known for their work on licensed titles. Platinum Games head of development and producer Atsushi Inaba recently talked about the company's current focus, which involves creating its own IP and self-publishing it, in an interview with Game Informer. And we'll talk about a little bit of that interview here. So what has Platinum been focusing on lately? Inaba says one of the things Platinum is focused on is we are looking into creating our own IP, creating our own game. Up until now, obviously, we've worked on original IPs for a wide variety of publishers. We've also worked on other Hollywood IPs for other publishers as well. But we're becoming more and more interested in the idea of self-publishing and doing our own title. Then another question they were asked is, are those all ideas for bigger games, or do you guys kind of look at what the indie space is doing? Are you thinking about doing a small indie-style game? Inaba says, we can't put together a AAA $10 million plus game because we just don't have that sort of cash. As an independent developer, however, we don't plan to go to the indies route with just a few people on a team making a game. So it'll be somewhere in the middle, looking at probably about 20 people on the staff making the game. So that's pretty interesting. So they're going to be more of like an indie dev. They're going to go from like AAA to indies. While not really seeming like an indie dev, that's going to be interesting. Quite curious to see what their original self-published game will be. He was also asked, does this change your direction for releasing big AAA games? If you're going to self-publish, does it affect your relationship with other publishers as well? Inaba answers, first off, we will continue to do AAA games for other publishers. And that's because, again, we don't have the cash to take on the risk to only do self-published games. In order to do a AAA title with that amount of risk, you need to be with the big company, a publisher, so to speak. We don't think that us doing self-published titles just based on the scope, scale, just based on the scope and scale of what they are is going to interfere with relationships with other publishers. Because again, the style, size, and scope of the games that we do with them is going to be much bigger compared to this, to the point where they realize we're not really competing in the same markets. So they're going to be a part-time indie dev, self-publishing company, part-time AAA developer. This is going to be interesting. I'm very interested to see how this all turns out. I am a fan of Platinum games. I have played the Bayonetta series. I am interested in the Nier games. I am interested in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I love hack and slash games. I wish them nothing but the best, and I look forward to what they are going to put out on their own. That being said, folks, this is the end of Episode 1, Part Number 1. Tomorrow will be Episode 1, Part Number 2, so look forward to that. Again, follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Follow Black Sakura on Facebook. Also, follow me on Twitch. I didn't mention that earlier. Follow me on Twitch. Everything will be in the description down below. Also, again, follow my friend and partner Erin Fitzgerald, a voice actress who is damn good at what she does. She is offering an ebook or an ebook and audiobook combo. Feel free to purchase that if you are interested in going into the field of voice acting, as she offers you some advice on how to become a voice actor. So, thanks again for watching, folks. This has been The Game Corner, the inaugural episode, part number 1. My name is The Rose. This is January 5th, 2018. Tomorrow, part 2. Until then, I'll catch your ass down the road.